Hello guys, Lego Master Reviews here, and today I'll be doing a review on the LEGO Star Wars set 75447, the Razor Crest. This set has 930 pieces and retails for $150 in the US. You get 5 minifigures included, that being the Mandalorian, Grogu, Zeb Orrelios, Colonel Ward, and an Imperial Remnant Stormtrooper. And this is obviously based off the brand new Mandalorian and Grogu movie. And this time around, the Mandalorian has a brand new Razor Crest with a brand new color scheme. So I'm very excited to review this set for you guys. So without further ado, let's jump right on into this review. Before we take a look at the minifigures, I wanted to start by taking a look at the actual box because I think the box art is beautiful. You, of course, have the Razor Crest here and then a Del 5 below, I believe. It just looks beautiful. I love the water there, the sandy beaches, the trees. It looks great. And then, of course, the clouds and kind of like the blue hue and the stars. It looks incredible. Kind of reminds me of just like the peak era of Lego Star Wars box art, like 2014-ish. It looks really cool. Then, of course, you have the Mandalorian and Grogu key art there with the older Grogu figure, funnily enough. And then you have the Star Wars logo, Lego logo, your set information on top. You have your Zeb figure here, the one-to-one picture. Then on the back, of course, it gives you a better look at the set with all the figures there with like more sand, of course, a little base there. The trees, the mountains, and like this kind of like play features of the set. The Lego Star Wars logo once again. And on the sides of the boxes for this whole wave, they've been including like figures from the set and the actual like movie logo. So I think that's really cool. And once again, you get that here with Zeb, Grogu, the Stormtrooper. Looks awesome. Of course, you have more greebling there. The bottom of the box, really not a whole lot going on. And yeah, just overall, I love the box art here. Again, I think it's just really colorful, and I think it just looks great. And yeah, I just wanted to show it off because again, I think it just looks really awesome. The first minifig we'll be taking a look at here is the Mandalorian himself, Din Djarin, and you can see this is the new variant from the Mandalorian and Grogu movie wave. And you might be wondering what the difference is, so I have the older version of the Mandalorian here to compare. You can see the biggest difference is, of course, the leg printing with the kind of shrunken down leg armor to accommodate the knee armor there, as well as the toe printing, and that looks really great. I think it's definitely a much needed upgrade. And you can see the only other difference here is the left arm printing, whereas you can see on the original one there was the whistling birds, but the Mandalorian seems to have some sort of new device on his left arm this time around, so they did that change as well, which is very accurate. So overall, I really love the upgrades, but that is all the upgrades you get. Everything else is the exact same. You have the same helmet print, which is kind of the newer one they changed up when the Mandalorian Season 3 came out. So you have the printing on top as well as the printing on the sides, and of course kind of the more narrow visor. Underneath you have that Din Djarin face print, which looks really great. You, of course, get his jetpack. The torso printing looks great as well. And you have the mud horn on his right arm there, of course, and the same gauntlet. That new arm print on his left arm. The leg printing, again, is phenomenal in this figure, too. And the blaster, of course, is included with them. So overall, I love this Din Djarin figure. I really love the upgrades that they gave him for this new wave. And I think LEGO has really perfected this minifigure at this point. Next up, we of course have Grogu, and he looks adorable. You can see here that he has a brand new body mold for this movie wave, and it looks incredible. I love the collar going around his neck, as well as the much more accurate body shape. The arms and hands also look adorable, kind of stylized like minifigure hands. And overall, I love this new mold for Grogu. Of course, he does have the same head mold here with the rubbery texture, and it also works really well. You can see you get a full range of motion out of it. It's also fully removable, and you can see the body mold for Grogu is dual molded. You also get a little slot for a stud on the bottom. And you can see here that this version of Grogu has a little like Beskar plate of armor, and that looks really cute on him. You can see there's a mud horn on the armor, as well as a little strap holding it in place. And I kind of wish that LEGO printed the strap on the back of Grogu. But either way, I think it does look very nice. You can see there's also some printing for his robes underneath that. And overall, I love this new mold for Grogu. I think LEGO's really perfected Grogu at this point. And even though the armor does look very cute in him, I do think I kind of prefer the more standard look for Grogu. Next up is the highlight minifigure of this entire wave, in my opinion, and possibly the best Star Wars minifigure of the year. And it is, of course, Zeb Orrelios here, back for the first time since that original Ghost set, I believe. I don't think he ever came in any other set, so it's so great to finally have a remade Zeb here. You can see that he has a phenomenal head mold, which I believe is the same from that original Zeb figure, but it might be slightly different. Either way, it looks great on him. You can see that he, of course, has his kind of like facial hair there, as well as his bright green eyes, which do have pupils, and that is great to see. LEGO's been making such bad decisions when it comes to characters with like colored eyes. So the fact that he has pupils is great. I also really like the lighter purple color scheme he has, and it really does make his eyes pop really well. And then you can see going down from there, he has a phenomenal torso print there with kind of like this New Republic fighter pilot look. And I just love the kind of like blue and white color scheme here. Of course, has the New Republic logo printed on there, as well as a very nice back torso print. And you can see that this minifigure actually has dual molded arms. And believe it or not, this is the first ever LEGO Star Wars minifigure to ever have dual molded arms. And I want to say we've had like dual molded arms in LEGO since like 2014. So it's insane we're just now getting dual molded arms in the Star Wars set, but either way, it looks great on this minifigure. Of course, he also has some really great leg printing, kind of continuing down from that torso there, and his legs are also dual molded, so this minifigure is just genuinely phenomenal. The only thing I kind of wish this minifig had was toe printing, because Zeb obviously has very big toes, and he's always climbing around in like Star Wars Rebels. I mean, I believe we even see him like climbing around in the trailer for the Mandalorian and Grogu. So I think getting some toe printing would have been nice. But other than that, this minifigure is literally perfect. He of course also has a blaster as an accessory, and overall, again, I think this minifigure is just the highlight minifig of this entire wave. LEGO did a phenomenal job with this minifig. Next up, we have Colonel Ward, and this is Sigourney Weaver's character in the movie, and you can see here that she has a very nice hairpiece here. I think it works perfect for the character. Really nice to get that. And then you can see she also has a pretty decent face print. Like, I wouldn't say it's awful, but if you like compare it here to the Sigourney Weaver face print from the Avatar sets, you can see it's just, this Avatar one is so much better. And I think the biggest thing is the eyebrow color not matching the hair on the Star Wars version, whereas this one just looks so much better. You can see it's just way more accurate. So this has to be some sort of reused face print from like Harry Potter or something. Like, there's no way that's a new face print for the character. So I really wish LEGO would have just taken this pre-existing face and put it on the Star Wars one. I really don't get the logic behind not doing that.
Common sense doesn't seem to always come first.
So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this face print, but obviously it's not like the most inaccurate thing ever. But yeah, I think it could have been a lot better. But yeah, you get a smirk on one side, and on the other side you have a much more angry expression. I think the torso printing does look very nice, however, though I really like the green jacket there with her like rank, as well as you can see there's a belt printed underneath that, as well as her shirt, and you get some very nice back printing here as well. No leg printing for this minifig, however. I guess Zeb took all the budget there with his dual molding. So yeah, you don't get any leg printing, but you do get a blaster included for her as well. And overall, I definitely think this is probably the weakest figure of the set. I just don't like that face print at all, but still, it's not a bad minifigure by any means. It's just, I think it could have been. Last up here is the Imperial Remnant Stormtrooper, and right off the bat, in his name, he's literally an Imperial Remnant, so his armor should be really dirty and grimy, and this is just the standard Stormtrooper figure with a pauldron. Like, LEGO did not even try, and if you just look at all the other, like, different, like, products, like the Funko Pops and the action figures for this movie, and, like, all the Stormtroopers, like, there's so much dirt on them, or, like, mismatched armor. Like, something on this figure that was unique from, like, just a standard Stormtrooper would have been really nice. So I'm really disappointed that LEGO didn't, like, even try here with, like, some sort of battle damage. So that is very unfortunate, but either way, it's not like an awful figure. You know, you get the Stormtrooper helmet there, which is dual molded. You get a nice face print underneath, some great torso printing, leg printing, back torso print, as well as the kind of more like modern pauldron here, which doesn't look awful on him. Then of course you have a like blaster form as well. But yeah, overall, I just think LEGO could have done so much more with this minifigure. I think like we could have gotten a really like cool variant of Stormtrooper with like battle damage. Like even if they just use like the Sand Trooper parts, just like a little dirty, would have been nice. So I'm definitely disappointed in this figure. Again, it's not awful, but LEGO could have done so much more. Overall, I think Zeb definitely carries the minifigure selection in this set. That's not to say every other figure in the set's awful. Like the Mandalorian's a perfect figure. Grogu looks amazing with the new body mold. Colonel Ward, however, just could have been better. And of course, the Imperial Remnant Stormtrooper just needed some sort of like battle damage. But I really think we should have got some other Imperial in this set, or like villain of some sort, because we have all these characters and the Razor Crest against this one Stormtrooper. Like, there should have been something else for like the characters to fight here. So I wish there was just more Imperials of some sort. But either way, I'm still really happy with the Zeb figure. Of course, he's literally perfect. The Mandalorian's perfect. Grogu's great. Colonel Ward is a pretty good figure. And of course, the Stormtrooper is also a cool figure. Just could have been better. So I really like the figure selection here, but there is a few things to improve on here and there. The only build other than the Razor Crest, of course, included in the set is this little E-Web blaster here. And I really like the look of it, although there's one thing that really annoys me about it, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'll start at the top here with the actual blaster section. I like all the different pieces being used here, of course, as well as the handlebars, so you can see you can obviously place a minifigure and have them mount the E-Web blaster here, which looks very cool. You do get this little piece kind of like poking through, and I believe that's supposed to be like a sight for it, although I'm not 100% sure about that. And then you can see there's a really nice range of motion for, you know, up, down, full 360. So there's a lot of different like poses you can get out of it. And then of course you have this piece down here with these 4 different legs, so you can have it like mounted on the ground. And the one thing that really annoys me about this is the connection here with this Technic pin and the actual stand. It's just so loose, like it just goes up and down like so. And it really annoys me. Like it's just constantly moving. I'm not sure if that was meant to be a feature to where like it's supposed to move up, but it doesn't like stay in place. it just sinks back down. So I'd find that really annoying, but it doesn't like break off. Like it is a strong enough connection in that way. Like it's never gonna like break off unless you really try. So that is nice, but the actual like looseness here just really annoys me. So I wish there was some other connection they would have used there. But other than that, I like the build for it. I think it does look cool, and I think it does give like the Stormtrooper like an advantage against all the other like characters in this set. So it is nice to include this, but you could also like give this to the Mandalorian like he did in season 1 when he like took it off the stand and used it against the Stormtroopers. So I think kids will have fun with this too, just kind of like having the different characters use it. So overall, I like it a lot, and I think it's a nice inclusion in the set. Moving on to the Razor Crest. Now we're going to start at the front here with the cockpit, and one of the biggest changes I really like as far as the cockpit goes is the fact that LEGO got rid of the little handlebar that was on the original playset. That always just drove me crazy. I thought it looked really stupid, so I'm really glad it's omitted here, and you can see it's still very easy to take off, really no problem. It's a very simple connection, just using these clip pieces here as well as those little like ratchet pieces there, and you can just snap it in place very simply, as you can see. And it's a very sturdy connection too. Like it's not going to fall off when upside down. Lifts up a little bit, as you can see, but like it's never going to fall off. So I really like how sturdy it is and also how simple it is, and it obviously just looks much cleaner. And something that also looks very clean is the windshield piece here. You can see there's some great printing on there, of course. And I believe it is the same mold from the original Play Skull Razor Crest. And obviously that piece worked perfect there. It works perfect here. Really like the look of it. Of course, this time it's got some yellow detailing. And again, I really like the detail on there. It is a bit scratched up, as you can see. And that's actually because LEGO decided to put this with the rest of the pieces in one of the bags instead of giving it its own like little bag, which really sucks. So be warned, your windshield could be a little scratched, but other than that, I do like the piece a lot. Then you can see on the back here, we have this like yellow piece here, which obviously covers that end of it. And again, the whole thing snaps on. Very simple, and overall, I just really love the look of this whole area here. The very front of the Razor Crest has a lot of details being created here using stickers, which obviously prints would have been better, but I think the stickers do look pretty good here. I think the grays match up pretty well to the brick, as well as the yellow there. I think matches up very nicely as well. And I like the details inside of the stickers too, and the one in the middle also looks very nice, although I guess the yellow outline kind of around the gray areas does not look great. But other than that, I think the stickers, again, look pretty good here. I also like the tan pieces being used down there and kind of like the dark gray pieces here. And then I also really like how they're able to create the angles. As you can see here, like using those pieces. I think it's just really cool and something that doesn't seem that complicated, but then you actually like look at how like the Razor Crest is shaped and you like realize that there needs to be some sort of angle. So like using that technique there, I think is really cool. And overall, I just like all the detail in the front. The sides of the Razor Crest also look really great here, especially with the sticker being used there. You can see the grays match up very well, and I also really like the yellow stripes going down. And the actual cannon on the side here looks really cool. I love the front of it here. I just kind of wish the piece being used inside of these two pieces was black, because the yellow spot there just kind of pops out. Obviously it kind of fits in with like the rest of the yellow color scheme, but as far as like this actual like front section goes, I do wish it was black. And then you can see that there's just a lot of other really cool pieces being used here. Of course, you also have that sticker, and the whole thing is very sturdy too. Like obviously you could rip it off, it is Lego, but like if you're swooshing it around, it's not going to fall off. And then you can see you get that same piece being used up here, being used on the bottom, just lots of other really smooth pieces. And of course on the other side it's the exact same, just inverted, so you get that same sticker, same build for the cannon on the side, and overall it just looks very cool. So I think Lego did a great job with the sides as well. I love the sticker detailing, and I think the actual cannon also looks really sick. Continuing down the side of the Razor Crest here, you can see there's tons more sticker detailing here, which again, I think the grays match up very well with the brick, and of course the yellow also looks very nice. You can see here that there is a bit of a gap in like the door piece here, and that is because it's like two separate pieces, and Lego doesn't put like one sticker over two pieces, so it does look a bit disconnected there, which I don't love. So I kind of wish we maybe would have like printed the pieces like closer together or something, but either way, it doesn't look awful. And then you can see that stripe there also kind of has a gap, but that's just gonna happen because like these are like two separate pieces, so it's just gonna look like that no matter what. But yeah, I like how they included the detail. Also like really like this little like pattern down there. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but I think that also looks kind of cool. I like these like kind of slope pieces on the side, of course. Then you get this like piece here on top of the door, which is just to help bring it down. I don't know if it was necessary, but it is nice they included, of course. And then you can see again, kind of continuing on the side, just nice pieces being used here. And all these, of course, do go down. We'll take a look at the interior later in the review. Then you can see on the other side of the Razor Crest, the exact same, just inverted, of course, with these same stickers. You have that same handle on the door. And again, that like same little pattern there, the same pieces there, and the other like kind of pieces continuing to the back. So I like the look of this a lot. The sticker detailing does look nice, but on the side here, I really don't like the fact that they have just this whole area exposed. I wish they would have covered it up, just maybe putting some of those like Technic pieces with like the Technic pins with the studs on them. I think putting those there and then just adding like a plate or something, or just using like gray pins in there instead of like bright blue ones. would have made this whole thing look a lot better. So I wish it would have covered that up, because I don't think that looks good at all. And again, the same thing is on the other side, of course. So I don't love that, but everything else on the side I do like a lot. And at the very back of the Razor Crest, you of course have your loading ramp, and you can see here that there is very minimal gaps. Like, you really don't see a whole lot into the interior, which is really nice. And of course you have the ramp itself, which doesn't have a whole lot of detail. Like, the whole top section here is just like the one piece. And then you can see there's like some gray kind of slope, like not slope, but like kind of like curved pieces being used here, which I also really like. And I like how they kind of add 2 layers to it. Just makes it look a little bit cooler. But yeah, I'm not sure if there's like a ton of detail on the back of the Razor Crest, or if it's just kind of plain like this. But either way, I think it looks pretty good. Then of course you can lower that down, and it gives you access to the interior. And you can see it has a lot of range, but obviously it's not going to go that far down when it's like sitting on your desk or something. It's just going to go about that far down. But I think it does look very good. Not a ton of detail, of course, but I think it works for what it is. That, of course, leads us to the top of the Razor Crest here, and you can see you, of course, get some stud shooters. So we'll start with those, and they fire off like any other stud shooter, really not anything special. But I do believe the previous Playscale Razor Crest used spring-loaded shooters, so it's kind of interesting they changed that up. And we've definitely seen more distracting usages of like these stud shooters in other sets, so I'm not like that upset about it. Obviously, it doesn't look great, but I think there has been a lot of worse instances of getting stud shooters in sets. Then you can see, of course, you have the like Nexonite shield being used here, which I think looks pretty cool. Then you have the yellow stripes going down the sides, which I like the angled pieces being used here. Then, of course, that leads into the sticker, which I think you could probably do a better job than me of lining up the sticker with the yellow bricks. But either way, and I don't think it looks like awful. You can see you get that on the other side, of course, as well. Then you get one of the biggest changes from the previous Playscale Razor Crest, and you can see that it's the escape pod here, which is just kind of built into the set. You can't actually remove that or put a figure in it, which I certainly think would be better for like a play set, of course, to have that. But at the same time, we've never once seen the Mandalorian use it. As far as the TV show goes, I haven't seen the movie yet, but in the TV show, you've never once seen the Mandalorian use it. So obviously it's nothing that's like that crazy relevant to the show anyways. And I think it does look better and more accurate, of course, kind of built into it. Obviously it can be just a lot smaller, and you can get a lot more cool pieces in there, like those like kind of like black pieces being used there, and like the little like window piece there. So obviously I think as far as a play set perspective, yeah, you'd want it to be fully removable and be able to put a figure in there. But at the same time, the fact that the Mandalorians never once used it, and the fact that you kind of have to downscale the set, I think it was probably the better decision to end up doing this. I think it just ends up looking better, and I think it just looks a lot cleaner, especially with those like kind of curved pieces on the side there. And again, I just like all the different like black like pieces inside there as well. The window, there's all those gray pieces. There's even like a tan piece behind that. So overall, I like the shaping of this more than if they would have just done the kind of like fully removable one. But at the same time, I definitely get the idea of like wanting to do something funner for a playset. Behind the escape pod, or lack thereof, I suppose, you can see that you get these black grill pieces here, which I think look very nice. Of course, you have some more of those grill pieces there, some kind of like black pieces in between those, of course, as well. Then you can see that these pieces are actually adjustable, so you can move them up if you wanted to. There's some yellow pieces underneath that, so maybe you, if you like the little splash of color on the back, you could do that, but I believe they are supposed to be like pushed down. And then you can see there's some dark gray kind of mixed in towards the back here, as well as these really nice kind of like curved pieces there. You get some detailing on the very end of the like tail of the Razor Crest here, and I also really like the kind of curved pieces on the side that kind of continue on as well. And of course you get that on both sides of the Razor Crest. So overall, I like the back section a lot too. I think it looks really great. There's a lot of nice detail kind of put in there. And we, of course, have our engines on the Razor Crest, which I also think look incredible here. You can see there's some really nice shaping, of course, with these kind of like circular pieces. And you can see inside of that, there's like a black kind of background there. And you can also see there's even some like slope pieces there. Then, of course, you have like the superhero jumper pieces being used, which I think looks really cool. Then like the circle piece. And obviously this whole area is like the intake. So I really like the look of it. Then, of course, you get this piece here, which I believe is like the turbo tank wheel, and like the actual good turbo tanks, not the tiny tank. So that's kind of cool. It's being used here. Then you get these like window pieces, and like all this detail that's brick built, I think looks very cool here. And I believe on the previous Playscale Razor Crest, like all the detail on the engines was actually stickers. So it's really cool here that they actually brick built it this time around. I just think it looks a lot better. Then you can see on the back here, probably my favorite part of the engines, of course, has to be the back with the thrust of it using that translucent orange piece. And then like the actual kind of area around it looks really cool with like these kind of like slope pieces here on clips, so you can adjust them if you wanted to, but it's just really cool. I think it looks very clean. You also have kind of like a tan piece behind that too, which looks very cool. And on the other side, it is the exact same, of course, using that same great building technique. Get the same window pieces as well as that same wheel piece, and of course the intake is the exact same as well. And all the engines are, of course, very sturdy, or both the engines. And you can see here that, yeah, they're very sturdy, kind of built in with like Technic rods, so yeah, they're not going to fall off or anything. And I'm just a huge fan of these engines. I think it's a major improvement over the previous Playscale Razor Crest, and I think Lego did a great job with them. Moving on to the interior of the Razor Crest, we're going to start the cockpit here, and you can see this full top section can be easily removed like I showed you earlier, and that gives you full access to your interior here, which is surprisingly spacious. Like when you hear downscaled playset Razor Crest, I don't think you're expecting a ton of space, and that kind of does apply for the kind of like main section of the Razor Crest, but the actual cockpit is very spacious. I would argue it's even more spacious than the original playset, so that was very cool to see. And you can see you can fit 3 minifigures in here, technically 2.5 because Grogu is really not a full minifigure, but there's a lot of room in here. And you can see that there is the actual like seats for figures, and then 2 like singular studs, and that's for, you can either put Grogu on one of them and then have the Mandalorian's jetpack taking over one, so you could have Grogu in the back here and then have the Mandalorian up front, or have the Mandalorian in the back and have Grogu in the middle. So it's nice that they give you the option here, but we'll put Grogu in the back for this example, so you can put Grogu there, and you can take either Zeb or Colonel Ward. We got Zeb in this case here, and then place them in the middle here. And you can even get the Stormtrooper if you wanted to, really. But then, of course, you get your Mandalorian figure and put him in the front here to pilot the ship. Place them down on the studs, and you can see all the figures in there are very sturdy. And then you take your top section here and place it down to cover the figures, of course. And now you can see all your figures seated in the Razor Crest pretty comfortably. You can see there's tons of headspace over the Mandalorian. Zeb is a little tight. It's kind of hard to show on camera, but you can see his head's kind of like in between like the gaps like in the build for like the actual top section here. So it's kind of tight, but it definitely fits still. And then of course there's plenty of room for Grogu back there. It was kind of hard to see once you have everything put on, but yeah, there's again plenty of room in the interior. I think it's really great that they include such a spacious one, especially when you get so many unique characters in the sets. It's nice they do that. But as far as the actual interior goes, detail-wise, you can see you get some like blue pieces on the side there, as well as a little like control panel there. That's about it. Obviously, like it's not a UCS set, you're not going to get tons of accurate details with all the different buttons and switches and levers, but I think for a playset that works, obviously. Then there's some space back there, so I suppose you could put a blaster, but there's actually a different spot in the interior for your blasters. So yeah, that's really about it as far as the cockpit goes. I like how spacious it is, but other than that, there's really not a whole lot going on with it, but it is really cool. You can fit 3 of your figures from the set inside of it, especially in like this age where like a lot of figures kind of just lay down in their ships, like the U-Wing from last year. It's nice that we get a really spacious interior where all the figures can sit. The sides of the Razor Crest, as far as the interior goes, is one of the biggest downgrades from that original playset. Razor Crest here, you can see opening this up, you really get nothing. Like you can see like there's kind of like a bit of an engine there, I suppose, using like the translucent orange piece there, like some sort of contraption inside the Razor Crest, and that like grill piece there, and that's about it. That's it. There's really nothing. I'm not sure what that's really supposed to be. And obviously this whole like section here goes down, but it really just feels like a waste because that is like literally nothing. And on the other side here, you can see there's a bit more with kind of like a control panel of some sort. And on the back of the box, it does show like Grogu working, like the little control things there, but there's actually no like spot for Grogu, like stud wise. Like you can obviously just set them on the like piece there, but like there's no actual like designated spot for Grogu. They can't like fit in there because there's just not enough room. You can't like sit on that stud or anything. So I'm really disappointed, especially on that original playset Razor Crest. There was like a full bed for the Mandalorian and just really cool things. Like I believe this side was like storage for the like the spring-loaded shooters on that original playset Razor Crest. But yeah, I think it could have been so much more. I think this is just really disappointing. Like maybe if we could have put Grogu in there and like he could actually like sit in there, that would have been a little cooler, but you can't even do that. So I'm really disappointed with this. Like obviously the detail inside is kind of cool with that translucent piece and like the control dish there, but I think it could have been way cooler in my opinion. To access the main interior of the Razor Crest, you of course have all these different panels. The more accurate way would of course be this little door here for the characters to enter, and you get that nice little like handle there to lower it down like I showed you earlier. But of course you also get these side panels here that don't go down quite as far, but obviously that gives you much better access to the interior, and the same goes for the other side here with that door, the side ramp here, then of course the back ramp, and now you have your full interior here, which really there's not a whole lot going on. Like the original playset Razor Crest had like carbonite and like just different things throughout. This has like a bench, I suppose, and like little slots for your blasters, and that's about it. Of course you have studs for your characters, which even then it's really hard to put a character in here like standing up like the Mandalorian. Like you could like kind of squeeze him in there, but maybe my hands are just too big, but my hands just kind of get blocked. And I just find it really hard to like place them on any of the studs. like there, but like even then he's just kind of like standing there, like he's not doing a whole lot. And of course, you could maybe sit a character on the bench, but I think it might even be too tight for that. Maybe you could put Grogu on the bench, and even then, again, it's like really hard to like work your hands around that, and like you have to put him like sideways. So I really don't like the interior on this. There's just nothing going on, and like I don't even know how many minifigures you could fit in here. Like you'd have to angle them like really weird, and just I don't know. And then even like this like thing here, which was kind of like made for like the stability of the set, just does not look great in there, and just there's nothing going on. Like I wish there was something more. Like the cockpit was so good on this set, then everything else interior wise is just so disappointing. Like there's nothing to break down here. You get a bench, clips for your weapons, and then studs, and that's literally it. No like carbonite, which I get that the Mandalorian's not like bounty hunting anymore, I suppose, like freezing people in carbonite, but there could have been something else. Like I don't know, it's really boring to me. And like with like this too, it's just there's nothing going on. So I think the most interesting part is just the side ramps here, and that's about it. Like the interior has nothing going for it other than the cockpit, in my opinion. So that's really disappointing, and I think that's something that the original playset Razor Crest did much better. The bottom of the Razor Crest, of course, has the landing gear for the set, and you can see it looks very nice here. These back ones are very sturdy, using like this piece here. You can see it's actually built into the frame of the set, so that's not going anywhere. It's extremely strong. Like this actual landing gear part might break off, but like the actual piece there, it's extremely sturdy. Same goes for that one there. Also has the same range of motion. And then the one on the front is maybe a little bit looser, but it hasn't broken on me once, so I really have no complaints there. You can see it's actually connected like using studs. And like this one doesn't have as much motion. It kind of goes up that far, it goes back that far. I like how the clear piece kind of stops it there too. That's kind of clever. Then you can see that there is like a blue Technic piece holding that in, which I wish that was gray, of course, but when you're looking at it from the top, you really don't see that piece anyways, but obviously that being gray would have been nice. Then you can see there's some slope pieces there, so it's kind of a smoother look as well. You can see that what it looks like from the back, and from the side is the exact same as well. So yeah, I really like the landing gear on the set. You also get inverted tiles, which I don't really think is to actually have it like lay on a desk. I think it's just to keep these pieces together, as you can see. So it is nice to get those as well. But yeah, that is the landing gear of the set. Nothing insane. Obviously, it's not retractable, but I think it does look good for the set. And of course, it sits very level on your desk when it's all said and done. So I really like it a lot. Another thing worth mentioning is the fact that the set is very sturdy. I'd recommend holding it from the tail here. I think that's probably the sturdiest point. Obviously, you get a lot of swooshability out of this. That's another thing. The set is very swooshable. I think kids are gonna have a ton of fun with it. Even I'm having fun with it, just swooshing it around. But yeah, the set is very sturdy. Again, that's probably your sturdiest point there, but you could hold it from the sides like that. I think that would definitely work. You could hold it kind of like that. That's also not going to fall apart on you. The engines might be a little loose. Like if you hold it like that, it's probably going to fall apart eventually. But even then, like it's surprisingly sturdy. Like the front section here too, like you could hold it like that, not going to fall apart. And like the side panels, again, I think is a good spot to hold it from, but you definitely don't want to push down too hard because it could definitely break. But yeah, just a really sturdy build. I think that's a lot of it has to do with like the Technic base here and all like the pieces holding it in place. So pretty impressive. Again, especially that tail, I think is really sturdy. So I'm really impressed with that. And of course, obviously you want a swooshable set, and this one really delivers. It's extremely swooshable, and I have no complaints when it comes to that. But that's going to do it for my review on the LEGO Star Wars The Razor Crest. Overall, I think this set is a major improvement on the original play set. The only thing I think it does far worse is the interior. Like the main section inside is just awful. Like I really don't think LEGO could have done much worse. There's nothing of substance in there. I really don't like it. And obviously there's not a whole lot of room either, which is probably why there's nothing in there, but they could have done something else interesting or just make the set bigger at $150. You can do that. So that is disappointing. Then obviously the escape pod not being here. Personally, I don't mind it, as I'll be displaying the set, of course, but as far as like a play set, of course, kids are going to want that. So I get not being happy about that either, but personally, I don't mind that all that much. But that's a valid complaint completely. But everything else, I think the engines on the set are way better than the original. I think the cockpit is very spacious, especially for being downscaled. Very, very good. The stickers match up really well, which is something that original play set Razor Crest didn't do very well. And like obviously the cannons on the side look great. It's a very swooshable set, very durable set, of course. And you get the new Mandalorian color scheme, which is obviously nothing LEGO really did. They just copied it from the movie, but you do get that nice new yellow color scheme. And the figures, of course, are amazing. You get the best version of the Mandalorian state, the great new version of Grogu, of course, the Peak Zev figure. Colonel Ward and the Stormtrooper could have been a lot better, in my opinion, but still, you get some great figures in here. So I would give this set an 8 out of 10. And I think at full price, you wouldn't be disappointed. Obviously, I get being hesitant, though. Of course, $150 is no small amount of money. But I think if you are interested in this set, you want to pick it up. If you got it at full price, you wouldn't be disappointed. I'm certainly not. So I'm really, really happy with the set. Again, for the most part, that interior is just not very good. But still, I really like the set. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of this set if you plan on picking it up. Also, let me know how excited you are for the Mandalorian and Grogu in the comments down below. And thank you so much for watching this review. I truly do appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it and have an incredible day.